Baker Mayfield was never handed a path to stardom, overlooked by Power 5 programs, dismissed as too small and too brash, and forced to walk on not once, but twice.
Mayfield, pocket collapsing late, but he finds his favorite target, Mike Evans.
Yet he refused to back down, turning himself into a Heisman winner and a first overall pick in the NFL draft, breathing life into a Cleveland Browns franchise that had been broken for decades.
Here's one, it is caught by Landry to the one. Fake to Hyde, Mayfield, end zone, Landry, touchdown.
But by 2022, that star dimmed. Injuries, coaching changes, and a fractured relationship with Cleveland left Mayfield without a team, bouncing between franchises and facing questions about whether his NFL career would ever regain momentum. And then, against all odds, Baker rose again. He'd been doubted his whole life, but he doesn't just play. He competes like nobody else. And now he's proving that heart and fire can still change everything.
Mayfield steps up, and now he throws wide open. It's Callaway inside the 30. Mayfield over the middle, right back to Njoku. Mayfield from his own end zone. Acceptable for his first catch of the year.
Today, he's showing flashes of the player who refused to be overlooked, reminding the league that Baker Mayfield's story isn't just finished yet. This is the rise, fall, and redemption of Baker Mayfield.
Leaving his feet and just floating into the ball.
Baker grew up in Austin, Texas, right in the heart of football country. But even in a state obsessed with the game, Baker stood out for more than just his talent. It was his attitude. He was confident, fiery, and unshakably competitive. Coaches and teammates at Lake Travis High School remember him as the kid who barked at teammates, stared down defenders, and celebrated every first down like it was the Super Bowl. But beneath all that swagger was something deeper, a constant need to prove people wrong. Lake Travis was already a powerhouse when Baker arrived. The Cavaliers had just racked up one of the most dominant stretches in Texas high school football history. 4 consecutive state championships from 2007 to 2010, and the school had built itself into a quarterback factory, producing Division I signal callers such as Garrett Gilbert, Texas, and Michael Brewer, Virginia Tech. When Baker finally got his shot, he didn't just fill the role, he elevated it. As a junior, Mayfield led Lake Travis to a 16-0 record and a Texas 4A state championship, their 5th in a row. He threw for over 3,700 yards and 45 touchdowns that year, slicing up defenses with precision and confidence. His senior season was more of the same. Another 10-win campaign, another mountain of passing yards, and a reputation as one of the best leaders in the state. But when it came time for colleges to call, the phone stayed quiet. Wasn't tall enough. He wasn't flashy enough. He wasn't the prototype. Baker would later say in an interview with ESPN, "Nobody wanted me. But that's what made me who I am today. It made me better, not only as a football player, but as a person." His scholarship offers were limited. Rice, where he could have played both football and baseball, New Mexico, Army, Florida Atlantic, and Washington State. And that was it. No Texas, no Oklahoma, no powerhouse schools. Still, Baker refused to see himself as a victim of circumstance. He saw himself as a victim of underestimation. One of the problems, he once said, is that a lot of people evaluating quarterbacks now, I'll guarantee you they never played quarterback. It's not just about arm strength or size. It's about being a leader. How you get your players to play with you. That mindset, that relentless defiance, became the cornerstone of his career. He had no scholarship, no hype, and no guarantees. But he had belief. And belief for Baker Mayfield was always enough.
Zone, Griffin Gilbert the catch, and the touchdown for Lake Travis.
In 2013, Baker Mayfield arrived at Texas Tech as a walk-on, a player with no scholarship, no expectations, and nothing to lose. He was buried on the depth chart, just another name in the quarterback room. But by week 1, that changed. Baker became the first true freshman walk-on quarterback in FBS history to start a season opener. No handouts, no hype, just pure will. He threw for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in his debut against SMU, instantly capturing national attention. Over 8 games, he threw for more than 2,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. But even success came with setbacks. When a midseason knee injury against Kansas sidelined him, he lost his starting job to Davis Webb, but returned for the final 3 games of the season. He was named Big 12 Conference Freshman Offensive Player of the Year. But when Texas Tech refused to offer him a scholarship, Baker surprisingly made one of the boldest moves of his career. He packed up, left Lubbock, and transferred to Oklahoma without a scholarship, without a guaranteed spot, and without permission. He arrived at the University of Oklahoma in 2014, unannounced, uninvited, and unrecruited. He just showed up at the football office and asked for a chance. It was a storybook gamble, a walk-on quarterback transferring without permission, with no guarantee of eligibility. For a while, he wasn't even sure if he could play, but Baker didn't care. He practiced, studied, and waited. Eventually, his determination impressed legendary coach Bob Stoops, and Mayfield earned a starting job in 2015.
In my coaching career, that I was hearing the rumors that he's transferring to Oklahoma, and I've never talked to the guy.
Launching one of the greatest college football runs of the decade.
NCAA rule in my release forms, I couldn't talk to him. I wasn't going to take a chance and have to sit out another year.
In his first 2 seasons under Stoops, Baker went 21-5, threw for over 7,600 yards and 76 touchdowns, and ended up top 5 in Heisman voting both years. He was fearless in big moments, trash-talking defenses, and celebrating touchdowns with the kind of energy that Oklahoma hadn't seen in years. When Lincoln Riley took over as head coach in 2017, everything went to another level. Under Riley's creative offense, Baker flourished, throwing for 4,600 yards, 43 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions.
Mayfield back of the end zone, wide open. Taking a shot. He has a wide open CD Lamb.
He led Oklahoma to the college football playoff.
2nd and 10. Mayfield with a deep drop. Eyes downfield. There's Mixon.
Won the Heisman Trophy and cemented his place as one of the most electric players in the nation. The same kid who walked on twice, who every major school ignored, was now holding college football's most prestigious award. When asked how it felt, Baker didn't gloat. He smiled and said simply, "It all worked out in the end. The fact that I had to earn everything just to get here makes it even more worthwhile." He wasn't just a college superstar. He was a living lesson in resilience.
Pressure. Able to get away. Scrambling some more. Keeps his eyes down.
But the NFL was a different world, one where confidence can be mistaken for ignorance and swagger can rub people the wrong way. Scouts loved his accuracy, his leadership, his edge, but they remained unsure of Mayfield. Some of that was due to his height, and some of it was due to an off-season arrest in Arkansas, where he was charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, fleeing, and resisting arrest. The video of the arrest went viral, largely due to the form tackling of the officer in pursuit of Mayfield. He wasn't built like a prototype. He was built like a chip on someone's shoulder.
It's pure Baker Mayfield.
Some teams saw Drew Brees, others saw Johnny Manziel 2.0. Still, one franchise saw something else entirely: belief. The Cleveland Browns, a team buried under decades of misery, losing seasons, and quarterback failures, were looking for something, someone to believe in again. And in April 2018, they made their choice. With the first overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns selected Baker Mayfield. And when Baker heard his name called as the #1 pick, surrounded by his family and friends at his home in Austin, you could almost feel the weight of Cleveland's history shift.
Yes, sir. It's in the playbook.
The Browns had just drafted their savior, because if there was one player in that entire draft who understood what it meant to build belief out of nothing, it was Baker Mayfield.
3rd down and 5. Little pump fake. Here's Mayfield scrambling. Flag is thrown.
When he arrived at training camp, he didn't walk on like a rookie. He walked in like a spark. Teammates said that you could feel his presence, the energy, the attitude, the expectation that losing was no longer acceptable. But he would have to wait. The Browns started veteran Tyrod Taylor as their Week 1 starter, and for the first few weeks, Baker stood on the sideline, watching, waiting, and studying. Then came Week 3 against the New York Jets, Thursday Night Football, national TV.
Sneak out, great job, and a 1st down.
Tyrod went down with an injury, and Cleveland was trailing. In came Baker Mayfield. And in that moment, everything changed. He threw lasers across the middle, quick strikes to Jarvis Landry, darts that sliced through the Jets' defense. He even caught a two-point conversion on a trick play. Cleveland won their first victory in 635 days. He finished his rookie season with 27 touchdown passes,
Here's one. It is caught.
breaking the all-time rookie record at the time. And the Browns went 7-8-1, their best season in over a decade. For the first time since 1999, Cleveland had a guy. Baker Mayfield entered the 2019 season with high expectations, surrounded by offensive talent like Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and a developing supporting cast. While the season was filled with ups and downs, Baker had moments that reminded everyone why he was the first overall pick. In Week 4 against the Baltimore Ravens, he threw for 342 yards and 3 TDs, showcasing the poise, accuracy, and fearless downfield passing that made him a Heisman winner. Alongside Baker, rookie running back Nick Chubb was beginning to emerge as a dynamic force, adding a new dimension to the Browns' offense. His power running and breakaway speed gave defenses fits and hinted at a partnership that could take the offense to the next level. Despite these bright spots, consistency remained elusive. Baker finished the year with 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions, and Cleveland ended the season 6-10, missing the playoffs yet again. But even amid a challenging campaign, his competitive fire and resistance never wavered, setting the stage for a breakout under a new coaching staff the following season. Then came 2020, Baker's redemption year. Under new head coach Kevin Stefanski, the Browns finally had structure. Stefanski's offense emphasized balance, physicality, and smart play calling, giving Baker the tools to succeed. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt powered a dominant running game, while Baker's weapons in the passing game, Odell Beckham Jr., Austin Hooper, and rookie Rashard Higgins, stretched defenses and opened up opportunities. Baker stayed poised, limited turnovers, and played his best football when it mattered most. From the start of the season, things didn't look promising. The Browns opened the year by getting blown out 38-6 by the Ravens. And the whispers began again. Same old Cleveland. But this time was different. Baker didn't flinch. Under Stefanski's new system, the offense found its rhythm quickly. The Browns won 4 of their next 5, leaning on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt's bruising ground game, while Baker found comfort in play action and rhythm throws. Then came Week 7 against the Bengals, one of the most defining moments of Baker's career. After starting the game 0 for 5 with an interception, Baker went unconscious, completing 22 of his next 23 passes and throwing 5 touchdowns, including the game-winning strike to Devon Peoples-Jones with 11 seconds left. It was vintage Mayfield. Fiery, fearless, and clutch when it mattered most. By December, Baker had fully come alive. In Week 13 against the Tennessee Titans, he delivered one of the best games of his career, throwing for 334 yards and 4 first-half touchdowns, silencing critics who said he couldn't carry an offense. Cleveland jumped out to a 38-7 halftime lead and never looked back, improving to 9-3 and proving they were legitimate contenders. Over the season, Baker threw 26 touchdowns to just 8 interceptions, completing over 67% of his passes, a career high in efficiency. He also displayed leadership beyond the stat sheet, calling audibles at the line, rallying teammates in close games, and thriving in high-pressure moments. Cleveland finished 11-5, earning a wild card berth, their first playoff appearance since 2002, a dramatic turnaround from the previous years of disappointment. Then came the playoffs. In the wild card round at Pittsburgh, the Browns stunned the league, defeating the Steelers 48-37. Cleveland's first postseason win in 26 years. Baker threw 3 touchdowns, including a perfect strike to Rashard Higgins and a laser to Austin Hooper, outdueling Ben Roethlisberger and proving that he could deliver on the biggest stage. Next up was a road trip to Arrowhead Stadium against Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. The Browns battled fiercely, holding a lead late into the fourth quarter, but fell 22-17, coming agonizingly close to a monumental upset. Even with defeat, there was no denying the message. Cleveland had found its quarterback. 2020 was not just a resurgence, it was Baker's coming-of-age story. From clutch throws to smart decision-making, from developing chemistry with Chubb and Beckham to leading a long-suffering franchise to the playoffs. Baker's season was a masterclass in resilience, growth, and leadership. The foundation was set. The Browns were no longer a team to pity, and Baker had finally delivered on the promise that had once made him the #1 overall pick. Then, in 2021, everything unraveled. Baker Mayfield had been the face of Cleveland's revival, but the cracks were undeniable. Early in the season, he tore his labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. Most quarterbacks would have sat out. Baker didn't. He limped onto the field week after week, trying to prove that he was still the leader who had ended the 20-year playoff drought. But the results were devastating. He threw 17 touchdowns against 13 interceptions. The Browns missed the playoffs. Frustration mounted from fans and teammates alike, and Baker felt the sting of being blamed for a season spiraling out of control. Then came the final blow. Cleveland traded for Deshaun Watson. Baker wasn't just being replaced, he was being cast aside. The process left him shaken. Reflecting later, he called it pretty much the most disrespectful thing I've ever experienced. Yet, he tried to stay respectable, telling reporters, "It's been a few hectic months, but I'm extremely grateful to the Cleveland Browns organization and fans. I'm thankful for the 4 years we spent together and the memories that we made in that time." The numbers underscored his fall from grace. The Browns agreed to pay him $10.5 million of his $18.18 million salary that year, a stark signal of how eager they were to move on. Carolina acquired him for a conditional 2024 fifth-round pick, a staggering drop for a man who had once been the #1 overall pick just 4 years prior. In Carolina, Baker tried to start fresh. New team, new playbook, new coach. But the magic never returned. Behind a collapsing offensive line and inconsistent supporting cast, he struggled to recapture his peak form. By mid-season, he had lost his starting job, and by December, he was released. The quarterback who had once carried his city on his back, the man who brought swagger and hope to Cleveland, had fallen, both in status and in opportunity. For a moment, it looked like the end. Then, in a plot twist straight out of Hollywood, literally, Baker Mayfield landed with the Los Angeles Rams. Just 2 days after being claimed off waivers, he found himself under the brightest lights of Thursday Night Football against the Raiders. It was a whirlwind, new team, new playbook, new city, and the clock was already ticking. The Rams were down 16-3 with only 2 minutes left. The offense looked lost, the crowd restless. And then, Baker did what he always does best.
To the end zone to Jefferson. Is that possible?
He refused to fold. Calm, determined, and relentless, he orchestrated a 98-yard, 4-minute game-winning drive. Precision passes, smart reads, and a perfectly timed scramble when the pocket collapsed. And then, with 22 seconds left on the clock, he found Van Jefferson in the end zone. Touchdown. Rams win.
By Jefferson. God love.
It wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. Baker had gone from a conditional fifth-round pick, discarded by Carolina, to igniting a comeback on a team that wasn't expecting him to make a difference. The league had written him off. His critics had moved on. But there he was, proving in front of millions that the fire had never gone out. That performance set the tone for a remarkable turnaround. The Rams' victory gave Baker a confidence boost, and it was just the beginning. That season, he signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, stepping into the impossible, replacing Tom Brady, a legend, a future Hall of Famer. The spotlight was blinding, the expectations astronomical, and the doubters plentiful. But Baker thrived. Week after week, he demonstrated poise, mobility, and a knack for delivering in clutch moments. By the end of the 2023 season, he had thrown for 4,044 yards and 28 touchdowns, leading Tampa Bay to a division title. In the playoffs, he outdueled the Eagles, engineering a victory that reminded the league exactly who Baker Mayfield is. He wasn't supposed to survive. He wasn't supposed to matter. But against all odds, as always, he did. And in that moment, Baker Mayfield wasn't just a quarterback. He was a living testament to resilience, a man who had refused to let history define him. The 2024 season was a revelation. Baker Mayfield shattered expectations, setting new career highs across the board. He completed 71.4% of his passes for 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. His passer rating soared to 106.8, a franchise record for the Buccaneers. He also added 378 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, showcasing his dual threat capability. This performance earned him his second Pro Bowl selection and solidified his status as one of the league's most elite quarterbacks. The Buccaneers' offense flourished under his leadership, setting franchise records in passing yards and total offense. Baker's ability to perform under pressure, including multiple game-winning drives, was a testament to his growth and maturity as a quarterback. Now, just 7 weeks into the 2025 season, Baker Mayfield has elevated to another level. He's among the top 10 in almost every quarterback statistical category, leading comeback victory after comeback victory. What makes it even more impressive is the adversity around him. Mike Evans missed time with a hamstring injury, Chris Godwin's dealing with a rib issue, and the offensive line has been shuffled weekly. Yet, Baker keeps the offense humming. And he's not just winning games. He's willing the Buccaneers to victories they have no business getting. The kid once labeled a bust is now the face of resilience in the NFL. The story that began with walk-on dreams and Cleveland heartbreak has turned into something even better. A reminder that no setback is ever final for those who refuse to quit. If you enjoyed this story, stick with Primetime, subscribe, and check out some of our other content right here.